people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Okay, we'll start with this. Kaye Scotch assures Shields the whole world are underestimating her. Unified middleweight champion Kaye Scotch finds herself in the same situation as the steep underdog heading into her bout against Shields. Beyond the public perception that Scotch is facing an uphill battle against the 5-weight champion and 3-time undisputed champion, the Aussie underdog believes Shields is overlooking her as well. Scotch, 5-1-1, will defend her WBA and WBC titles against Shields, 18-0 with 3 KOs, on Saturday night at the State Farm Arena in Atlanta. In being Claressa Shields' next opponent at a time where Claressa is a polarizing figure, Kaye Scotch, through no fault of her own, has been subject to many quips and jabs at her age, her record, her fighting ability. So when she says she's being written off and she's being overlooked, she's right. I know I'm going to be in for a battle, but I'm ready for it, Scotch said at their final press conference Thursday. I think she's been underestimating me a little bit, but we'll see. I'm ready for everything that she comes at me with. I feel like the whole world has underestimated me, mostly because they just see that a pro record of being 7 fights. She comes from a pretty decent amateur background as well, but still, knowing everything I know about her and what I've actually seen with my own 2 eyes, the bookies are right to have her as a massive underdog. The fans too. Shields, 31, vehemently denied Scotch's claims that she's looking past her. The Flint, Michigan native will fight at 160 for the first time since June of 2023, 3 years ago, when she won a dominant UD over Marisela Cornejo to defend her Ring Magazine, IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO titles. Shields has fought her last 4 bouts at heavyweight since beating Cornejo, and she is coming off a dominant decision win over Franchon Cruz to defend her IBF, WBA, WBC, and WBO titles. I've been in the gym training 3 and 4 times a day, Shields said. I've been dieting. Usually I do a 6-week camp. I did 12 for Scotch, not because of the weight.
Sure, Claressa.
I've been made weight last week. That was simple. Making weight? No. I trained for you. I watched you. I know you were good in the amateurs. I know you are more experienced.
If Claressa's talking anybody up besides herself, you know that there's something behind it, an ulterior motive. The idea here is talk up this fighter that only has a little more than a handful of pro fights. That way, when you beat her, it's supposed to mean something.
The girls and the amateurs, the majority of them, may box better than the girls and the pros. I don't take your record of being 5-1-1 as a joke. I sparred so many rounds and we watched so much film. I didn't underestimate you. Scotch, 42, won the then vacant WBA and WBC titles in her last fight by way of a majority decision over Olivia Curry on December 20th. Scotch and Curry fought to a majority draw 3 months earlier in their first 10-round fight for the WBA and WBC titles.
Here's the thing about what Claressa said. She said the girls and the amateurs oftentimes box better than the girls and the pros. If that were true, Kaye Scotch would not have needed 2 fights for 1 win over Olivia Curry. I think you have to look at these amateur standouts on a case-by-case basis.
Scotch spent most of her career in the amateur ranks before turning pro in November of 2023, including fighting in the Commonwealth Games and World Championships. Her extensive experience as an amateur is something she believes has helped prepare her for Shields. All I can do is control the controllables, Scotch said. My sparring's been on point, my conditioning's been on point, my diet's been on point, and my mindset is on point. This opportunity has arisen, and I'm just taking it with full force. She wouldn't want to be against an opponent who doesn't believe that she can do it, and I think I can create history and go out there and bring everything and make it a really challenging fight. Bring those belts back home to Australia.
They might have had a point about Kaye's amateur experience being a factor in this fight if it weren't eclipsed by Clarissa's. As Kaye Scotch, God bless her, she didn't win the gold, the silver, or the bronze.
And I don't say that to take the piss. I say that to evaluate the fight and the probability of a big upset. I don't think there's going to be one. I think this fight is going to play out exactly how people expect it to, because amateur or pro, Clarissa clears.
She clears Kaye Scott. There's next to no chance of Kaye doing anything but losing in lopsided fashion.
In some instances, I'll be your huckleberry and play devil's advocate. Entertain the improbable, what may seem impossible, but this is not one of those instances. Saturday night, what's going to happen is what you expect to happen. Another lopsided Clarissa Shields fight.
Well, you really can't get excited about it. You're thinking to yourself, how could you say that when the tickets for the fight are selling well?
Well, those Uber celebs boxing on the undercard might have something to do with that. Ray J, Orlando Brown, those baddies. Sort of a misrepresentation of the card to say that all these tickets are moving just because of Clarissa.
It's not my intention to diminish Kaye Scotch as an opponent so much as just being honest. This is going to be another mismatch.
And super middleweight news, Edgar Berlanga claims Zuffa boxing deal pays more than the Canelo fight. Now, he could be exaggerating to further inflate his market value moving forward, or he could be telling the truth, because we know right now Zuffa is kicking out more money to more fighters than anybody else. In obscene amounts, Edgar Berlanga claims signing with Zuffa Boxing made him richer than his fight against Canelo. The admission offers a glimpse at how much money the new promotion may be spending on its high-priced acquisitions. The Brooklyn super middleweight, 24-2 with 19 knockouts, was asked, which made him richer, fighting Canelo or signing with Zuffa? Berlanga answered without hesitation,
Zuffa!
When asked if he would make more money with Zuffa, Berlanga confirmed it to Ring Champs. Yep, make more money. The exact figures remain private. Berlanga reportedly earned millions challenging Canelo in 2024, while rumors have put a Zuffa agreement at more than 10 million. Neither figure has been officially confirmed.
Zuffa!
From where I'm sitting, there's no way you can spin that, spending that much on that fighter, that kind of guy, into a flex, into a good thing. Edgar isn't worth it.
Facing Canelo has long represented one of boxing's biggest paydays. Berlanga also headlined a Turkey El Al-Sheikh-backed card against Hamza Shiraz in Queens before moving to Zuffa. His claim about the value of the new contract, therefore, carries some significance.
I would say so. If you've inflated the value of this fighter to the point he's now getting paid more than when he fought Canelo, who can actually justify the cost of his own fights,
What he spends on opponents.
you're paying Edgar too much. Way too much. The matchmaking makes the arrangement look even better for Berlanga. His Zuffa debut on July 26th at MSG came against Stephen Butler. Berlanga survived a second-round knockdown before stopping him in the 7th. Butler arrived with 5 losses.
You're paying this guy that kind of money to fight the likes of Stephen Butler?
Who lost to Patrice Volney, Yanni Bekalam-Kanalai, Jose Di Macias, and Ryota Murata. Now, Edgar, Stevens' career had shown a pattern of falling short when moved against stronger opposition. Zuffa had other options at super middleweight: Oslis Iglesias, Lester Martinez, Jacob Bank, Kevin Lele Sajo,
All of which likely would have beaten Edgar.
and would have presented much different tests for Berlanga following his loss to Shiraz. Instead, he received a New York date that allowed him to return to the winner's column with a stoppage. One fight doesn't establish Zuffa's long-term plan. Dana White repeatedly told Berlanga that he should become a superstar in New York. However, and immediately matching an expensive signing against the division's most dangerous contenders wouldn't necessarily serve that objective.
The strategy would also be familiar territory for Berlanga. Top Rank built his name through favorable matchmaking, while his string of first-round knockouts generated hype. Matchroom later moved him towards the Canelo payday. After losing to Canelo, Berlanga returned against Jonathan Gonzalez Ortiz, stopped him, and announced his free agency in the ring. Zuffa may be starting another building process. Berlanga has a lucrative contract, a promoter who wants to make him a major New York attraction, and, through one appearance, matchmaking that hasn't demanded the highest degree of risk. Other expensive Zuffa signings have received similar treatment. Conor Benn, facing Regis Prograis, Richardson Hitchens, matched against Ricardo Salas, paying established names well while giving them time to increase their promotional value before tougher fights is an old boxing formula.
But who says that's what they're doing here?
Berlanga's next few opponents should tell us more about Zuffa's plans. Thus far, he's getting paid handsomely, he's back in the winner's column, and Dana White still has his New York Superstar project intact.
If we're gonna take the story at face value, what Edgar Berlanga said, that money isn't coming from Zuffa.
It's coming from Turkey. That much we know already. So it doesn't cost Zuffa Boxing anything.
Not right now.
But how much longer do you think that Turkey LL Sheik is going to burn that kind of cash on this kind of fighter? When Turkey first enters into the boxing space, and he's working with all the traditional promoters, everybody knew that whatever he was spending, that wasn't going to last forever. And it didn't.
Because he's not working as closely with those traditional promoters anymore. He's not doing his Ring Magazine cards. He doesn't seem to be doing any more Riyadh season stuff.
We haven't heard anything new. His money and his attention seems to be going into Zuffa.
Momentarily.
So if all the big acquisitions and the recognizable names rely on Turkey LL Sheik to pay them well in excess of what they're worth, then that strategy is on borrowed time. Just like it was when he was working with the traditional promoters. He's not going to do that forever.
I'm telling you, I give him another year and a half, maybe 2.
Before he gets bored of playing with this and goes to play with something else. And what about those health concerns? Rumors of a deteriorating condition that could see the Saudi financier not being able to remember his own name.
I don't wish that upon him. I'm just saying that if that's a palpable possibility, then Zuffa...
How are they going to continue to make big acquisitions with noteworthy fighters once that stops? Because I've no doubts that it's going to. At some point, the well is going to dry up, and by then, you had better have built something that people want to watch, people want to see.
There is a lot wrong with paying fighters like Edgar Berlanga and Richardson Hitchens obscene dollar amounts that they're not actually good for, because it compounds on the existing market inflation that has made this sport near unwatchable for the common man, because it's too expensive.
Zuffa doesn't do pay-per-views, though.
Yeah, and DAZN didn't used to either, but over time, that changed, because things can always change.
Turkey LL Sheik is currently saving them the trouble of having to use their own money from their own budget to make these acquisitions. He is doing that for them, but to obscene amounts that can't be justified. I don't think there's a point where Edgar Berlanga is going to be able to bring back the money that was spent on him.
For Christ's sake, they don't even have a super middleweight division for him to fight in.
In that way, when you're paying that much for no other reason than you have it, then you can. Well, that's all well and good, but that's not business.
Not good business.
Not sustainable, not soluble. Edgar doesn't justify that kind of a price tag in terms of ability down the line, what he could become, and his marquee value now. He's not even that big a draw.
You spend that on this guy, it can't be because you're expecting to get it back somehow.
You think a Caleb Plant fight is going to do more business than the Canelo fight that he already had?
No fucking way.
Now it's time for another installment of what has fast become the most popular segment here on the channel, Ring IQ Hate Mail!
Jerry's back.
This guy makes regular appearances on the Ring IQ Hate Mail segments, all due to his beloved David Benavidez, saying, in this episode of The Relay, Ring IQ Boxing Talk tells us why the WBC moves the way they move with Canelo, because he makes them a lot of money.
He posted a link under the comment.
Defending the WBC's actions and, of course, defending Canelo. Ah, the good old days. There's only one man that can make Jules twist himself into a human pretzel.
What the fuck, are you retarded?
It's a rhetorical question because he must be still using Canelo as the focus and the anchor for anything involving David. David is at cruiserweight.
Hey, stupid. Do you think people want to see him fight Jai Opataya because of Canelo?
You know what he's doing? He's trying to invalidate all the valid points you made by claiming that you're being a hypocrite. That's the play.
Then he should have used a better parallel, a better one than Canelo, because David is not Canelo.
While he is receiving preferential treatment from the WBC, which is a common denominator, what's not is getting stood up at the prom like David just did.
All dressed up with nowhere to go.
When have you ever heard of somebody passing on a Canelo fight or passing on a Mayweather fight, passing on a De La Hoya fight? When you're the face and you pay out the most, that doesn't happen. But it just happened to David, and you know why?
Because he's not the face.
Nope.
He's not Canelo.
Nope.
Even if the World Boxing Council wants him to be at cruiserweight, there's not more money behind him than there is behind Jai. That's why when Noel had to choose, he chose Jai. even if it costs him the belt. The belt is only a segue to get to the money.
If the fighters can get to the money without it, that's what the fighters are going to do. That's what Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr. did in the middleweight division, all without fighting for a title there.
The guy who goes by the name Traffic T2R said Jai should be thanking Benavidez for moving up to cruiser. Benavidez made this division relevant again.
Define relevant, because I don't see an overabundance of people falling out of their seats with excitement over a CS-Slack fight.
Last year, the boxing world didn't give two shits about this division. Now, since Benavidez moved up, it's talked about again and again. The fight to make is Benavidez versus Jai.
So then make the fight and stop looking for excuses not to. Why is David targeting CS-Slack later this year instead of Jai?
Next year, Jai will be thanking Benavidez for his biggest paycheck when they meet in 2027.
It's the other way around, Princess, because it won't be David paying for that fight or his people, it will be Jai's. If it does happen, it won't be David's people at the helm of the promotion. It's Jai that would end up giving David his biggest paycheck, since at cruiserweight, he doesn't have many options, many alternatives for a big fight that could sell pay-per-views and do a big gate.
Go ahead and fight CS-Slack and see what that does at the gate and at the box office. After that, go fight the winner of Vidal Riley versus David Naika, if you even know who that is.
See if you can acquire the red belt, and then see who cares.
These guys get so fucking mad that boxing fans are advocating for a boxing match. What are we asking David to do besides his fucking job?
How the fuck is bringing up Canelo Alvarez still even a thing? That guy is coming off a loss to Terrence Crawford and could be on the verge of retirement. You can't keep leaning on him to explain away all of David's problems.
You're just giving it away.
What you really think, not us, because you believe that Canelo ducked David Benavidez, and now you're likening David to Canelo.
When it comes to Jai,
You think that you're giving us a taste of our own medicine when all you're really doing is admitting David is ducking. You think David is ducking. Well, that makes two of us. You're the one who thinks that David turned Canelo into a duck. So what are you now saying? That Jai Opetaia turned David into a duck? Since you keep comparing David to Canelo. There is an even bigger common sense argument to all of this. Why are you advocating for David to fight other people if it's going to cost you $75 to $80 to see him pounce on a nondescript Polish fighter you've likely never seen before? You should have to pay that? Wouldn't it be better if he went over to Paramount and boxed Jai Opetaia for nothing extra?
that goes right over their heads because they don't pay for anything.
Well, if they don't pay for anything and they're David's biggest fans, that explains why David's pay-per-views don't sell shit. With fans like these, who needs enemies? And Jerry more than most.
This guy is a fucking idiot.
I never meant that more about a Benavidez fan than I've meant it about Jerry, because he really thinks he's saying something.
So happy with himself. I've got you now, Jules.
Wait until he reads this.
What the fuck is wrong with this guy? David's a cruiserweight now. He wants to keep talking about Canelo. I want to see David fight Jai.
He wants to keep talking about Canelo.
What is that supposed to do?
How?
Is that any recompense for anything?
It's not. He just can't refute any of the things you've said, so he falls back on his old talking points.
It's anxiety. The way that old people watch TV shows they've already seen before to get a sense of comfort.
As there are no surprises.
No surprises is right.